Hi and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of my collection and just making a note of any plant chores, any repotting, any moss pole extensions, any propagations, any plants that I want to move around in preparation for autumn. Obviously we are like halfway through August now and we've still got lots of warm weather. We've got a bit of a heat wave happening here in the UK. But I want to start thinking about preparing my plants for the autumn season, maybe making sure they're in a position in which it's going to maximise the light. I've also got some plant areas that I'm just not really loving how they're looking, so I want to move things around a little bit. So I'm just going to make a list. Well, I'm not going to make a physical list because I'm going to be filming, but I'll have the film to look back on. But this is quite a good task that if you have a collection you can also do. You can walk through, just make a note of anything that needs to be done and then make a list, and then you can start to tick them off and make you feel a bit more productive. But yeah, before we get into the video, hi, my name's Alexis and this is Wild Houseplants. I'm a houseplant enthusiast and I also work as a houseplant technician, which basically means when I'm not looking after my own plants, I'm looking after other people's. If you don't follow me over on Instagram or TikTok, you can find me there at Wild Houseplants. And if you do enjoy this video today, I'd love it if you give this video a thumbs up, and click that subscribe button because it really helps out my channel. Okay, let's go look at some plants. Okay, so this little section is towards the back of my living room and it gets no natural light back here. So I do have these strip lights that I bought from Amazon just up here. And yeah, I tend to put like smaller plants here and maybe sometimes some propagations. But let's just walk through and see what's going on. So I've got Mandula pothos here, which is actually in semi-hydro. Oops. And there's a few roots coming out the bottom there, but it's nothing too bad. So I think for now that she should probably be fine. I do have two Zabrinas, both of which I've grown from corms here. This one you can see is getting way too tall for this space and it's getting these are burn marks from the grow lights. So I do need to move this one quite quickly. It's in perlite because it was having some root issues, but there's some nice roots in there. So I probably do need to think about where I'm going to move this one to and maybe getting it out of perlite and maybe combining it with this one because I don't need lots of little Zabrinas. So this one's doing really well, looking really lovely. So maybe I'll combine those two together and get them both into semi-hydro. This is just like a collection of lots of little cuttings that I had and I was just sort of bored of looking at all these propagations, so I put them all into one little mixed planter, which I think actually looks fine, but they are very dehydrated and you can see there's like roots coming out the bottom there. So I probably just need to give that a hydrate for now. I've got some corms in here, which will probably do better if they were actually up in the loft, just because it's warmer up there. So I maybe just move that one up to the loft. This little fern, which I think was probably a bit of a con in the sense that it was sold to me as like a pink variegated plant, but I always thought it looked like it had been spray painted. And if you look at it, it really does look like it's been spray painted, and all the new growth is this lovely green, which I also like. So I don't feel conned in that sense. I don't like the idea that the plant's been spray painted pink, which is just a bit bizarre. But yeah, I love this I love all the new growth. So I'll probably just end up cutting off those leaves here because they're really doing absolutely nothing. And yeah, I potted this up not too long ago, so I think it's absolutely fine. It does get a bit thirsty though, so I might think about maybe putting that one on a wick system. I don't currently have any plants on a wick system, but I probably should think about maybe starting to do that with some of my thirstier plants. My little Aglaonema Pictus tricolor, I just think this is such a beautiful plant and I can't wait for it to size up, but it's probably not getting enough light here because it's just too far away from the grow light. So I might take this up to my loft where it gets a lot of south facing light, and I think that will just give this plant what it needs. So yeah, it doesn't really need to be down here. This is my Philodendron Bilietier, and I've got it in the core semi-hydro mix from Soul Ninja, and I've got it on also a Soul Ninja moss pole. This is the small size, I think, and I just topped up the moss yesterday because, as you can see, it's starting to reach the top of the pole, and it's got lots of lovely roots going in there. You can see roots coming out the top here, so it's doing really well. As a result of that, look at the difference in size between, that's the previous leaf and that's the new leaf. Hasn't even finished hodding off yet, but it's just so beautiful. And it seems to be enjoying this spot, so I think I'll probably keep it here. But once I actually end up extending this moss pole, it's not going to be able to stay here. I'll have to move probably up to the loft, I think. But yeah, for now it's doing good. This is the Peperomia Happy Bean. As you can see, it's growing a little bit funky and quite tree-like. And so because it's branching here, what I'll probably do is chop here, propagate this top section. A couple of these and the ones in the middle looking a bit sad. Remove those ones, propagate it, and then stick it back into the soil to make it like a more full and lush, bushier plant. And I'll do the same on this side. So that's a job to be done. My little Christmas cactus is doing absolutely fine. Putting out new growth, super cute. Yeah, no problems there. I've got some Peperomia Hope cuttings back here, which are rooting really nicely, but the semi-hydro looks a bit dehydrated. But it is starting to put out new growth. Oh, sorry, you can't really see. There's new growth down there. So I might just have a little bit of a resort of these plants that are here. Move these two because they're getting a bit too tall, and maybe do a bit of propagation and moving some things around. This pothos just sits up there. It gets very little light, but it's still going. So yeah, just love pothos for low light situations. They are brilliant. Coming along here, I've got just these pothos cuttings in these little test tubes. There was like lots of different flavoured salts in here, so they work really well. But they're all rooted, as you can see. They're all ready to be potted up. So just pot those up and maybe put some new, fresh cuttings in there. I'm really unhappy with this shelf at the moment. Ever since I made that Thrips video, about treating my houseplant for thrips, because there was thrips on this shelf. I just never got around to quite getting it back to how it was because I was conscious that there were thrips on this shelf. So I want to completely take all these plants off and get this plant shelf looking lovely again. It's looked much better in the past, and there is just like other plants that will look much better up there. And then I want to get some grow lights set up directed at it just to give it a little bit of a boost, because although it sits, you know, it's not far from a south-facing window, you can see there's houses here opposite, and so it actually hasn't got a view of the sky, so it is quite a low light sort of area up there. So to get some grow lights going up there and then change up the plants. The plants themselves are actually fine. Nothing really needs a repot, I don't think, although those sea blue cuttings are very much actually in need of a repot, because if you look at the bottom of it, oops, lots of roots coming out the bottom there, so that needs to be looked at. But everything else is, oh actually, and this has got a lot of yellowing leaves, so that needs to be just pruned and maybe repotted as well. Coming down here, my big Alocasia Sabrina is doing brilliantly. It's in semi-hydro, and I checked the roots at the bottom, and there's nothing coming out the bottom yet. So I think she'll be happy to stay in there for the autumn, or at least through the autumn, and her growth will slow down. So I should hopefully she'll be okay in that pot until spring, I'm hoping. My Maranta, I've actually recently changed up the how I look after this, in terms of I started watering it with distilled water to try and help with these sort of crispy edges that you get, and that's really helped. So a lot of the new growth that you can see coming through there hasn't got these crispy edges, so I might just cut back the worst affected leaves here. Giving her a little chop back will just promote new growth anyway, so that's what I'm planning to do with her, but I don't think she needs a repot or anything. My string of hearts just is starting to really trail here, so I need to get these ones trailing back around the trellis there to make that a bit more full. But other than that, she's happy. That string of hearts up there is also fine. I did think about maybe trying to make the top of the pot fuller, but because she hasn't got, can't really see the top of the pot, I think for now that's not like a priority, if that makes sense. My oxalis is just, oh, I love her so much. She was repotted quite recently, so she'll be absolutely fine. My ficus is now finally putting out new growth since I repotted it recently. So again, that's absolutely more than good now. It doesn't need anything doing to it. Well, these plants are really thirsty here. My Anthurium crystallinum hybrid is doing well. Again, I repotted that one recently into a bigger pot with semi-hydro, so that doesn't need anything doing to it. It's got a new leaf that's just come out there. And the inflorescence, you can see, is just in that first phase now. So once it turns to the pollen stage, I'm going to collect that, and I'm going to maybe try and create some Anthurium babies at some point. Just some little succulenty type, well, snake plants down here. That's the well-thin Sansevieria, and this is a little Sansevieria that I made from propagations. Not really much to say about those. They don't really need to be here. I can maybe put them somewhere else. This ficus I was planning to repot, so that's on my list of things to do. Up over here, all my succulents are super thirsty because of course they're getting blasted with sun. We've had a lot of light, a lot of sun, very warm weather the last few weeks. So they don't need repotting, but they all need a really, really good drink for sure. I mean, look how wrinkly that is there. Oh my goodness, can you see that? Super wrinkly. Poor little guy. Sorry guys. I repotted this Hoya Crimson Princess, I think it is. I always get confused with Crimson Princess and Crimson Queen, but I think this is a princess. She's been repotted recently and rewarded me with like lots of beautiful new growth there. She's still got a whole section with loads of leaves coming out back here as well. And they're coming out this really sort of dark purpley colour. It's very beautiful. So she's very happy. My Philodendron Campii might just need a little soil refresh, top up, because you can see it's quite low down there. So I think I might just give that a little top up. I can see there's actually a mushroom growing. You see that? In that soil there. So I need to let that one dry out a little bit more. That's my CB Blue. Again, it's not ideal that it's trailing there onto the floor, so I need to get that onto a shelf. My Sansevieria down there, I think is absolutely fine. She's in quite a small pot, but I think she should be fine. I recently repotted my big Monstera, so that is fine. I repotted this, my big Pelea, yesterday because, and I've also repositioned it under this grow light because she was starting to get a lean towards the window, and I really want her to be growing up, not leaning. So I repotted her yesterday, and hopefully she will sort of bounce back a bit because she's definitely thinning out at the top a bit. My euphorbia is just coming into growth now. Look at all those beautiful new leaves coming in, so exciting. Again, it's sort of hidden away back here a bit, so I need to think about a new position for that one to go in, but I don't think it needs a repot. One of my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, I've literally just moved this one here yesterday, swapped it with the, well, actually I swapped a few plants around, but the Pelea was in here, and I'll now put that one there, but I'm not sure it's the right place for it. Do I need to get it against a wall so it can climb potentially? I'm not sure. My dragon scale, I let it flower, but I'm thinking I'm probably just going to cut this off now because it's looking a bit sad. Aglaonema is desperately thirsty, but otherwise doing really well. I don't think it needs anything doing to it. Up here, I think my neon pothos hasn't been looking as good since I put it up there. Again, similar to the shelf on the other side, it's just not getting a huge amount of light up there because it's towards the back of the room and it's not seeing the sky. And because I love that trailing pothos so much, I just think I need to think about putting it in a new position, maybe getting it onto this side, onto the other side, and then getting some grow lights towards it or something like that. But it's still fine. More trailing plants up there, Sansevierias, another pothos, they're all doing fine. Well, actually that one does need a repot, but it's not emergency. Now this is the big job that I've been putting off, which is to chop up my Monstera albo. I just hate the way it's growing on this moss pile, it's so ugly. The plant itself is doing really well and it's just given me its first leaf with double fenestration. So the plant itself is really happy and it should be looking absolutely stunning, but this moss pole is just so ugly and yeah, just needs to be sorted out. So that is definitely probably number one on my to-do list of things to do. I've just got some propagations down here I need to sort out, and that is my Aglaonema cutlass, which is absolutely fine. And then I just moved this one here yesterday, my Philodendron Prince of Orange, but probably not the best place for it. I need to think about moving things around. So yeah, generally there's not a huge amount to do in terms of like repotting and stuff with these plants, but I'm just not really happy with the positions of the plants and just the aesthetic of the room. So I just want to move things around and yeah, get them looking a little bit more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. In the kitchen here, most things are looking good. I've just got loads of propagations that I need to put up. I'm wanting to do a combined pothos planter or epipremnum planter with all the different types of colours and variegation. So that's what these are all doing here, but they're rooted up now, so I just need to pot them together. Little asparagus fern is doing better than it was. I've got another one up in the bathroom that's doing even better, but yeah, again, it just a little bit thirsty. That Monstera is doing fine, could be in better light, but I've got so many Monstera and I just don't have space for them all to have a lot of good light, so I have to prioritize. That pothos probably needs to be, I just don't really like this trailing situation here. It's not really doing anything for me. So again, a bit of a sort out here and just think about what I can do. I've also got two Monstera Ansonii here, which I think could be combined. I'm just trying to streamline my collection at the moment. So where possible, if I can combine plants together and create a bigger, fuller plant rather than having lots of multiples, that is what I am trying to do. So I'm going to combine those two together. My peace lily is doing really well. She's actually one of the few plants that I have planted directly into this ceramic planter, but it does have drainage at the bottom with a drip tray that you can see there. So yeah, I repotted her probably 2 years ago, so, but she's happy, so I don't really want to mess with the root system at the moment. I've got another Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, which I'm probably going to be giving away or selling because I just don't need as many as I have. My big Dracaena marginata is doing well. That's fine. Hoya linearis is doing good. And my fishbone cactus, which I recently cut up and then propagated and then put it all back together recently. So that's now growing nicely again. My string of turtles is doing really well up there, starting to trail quite a lot now, so that's nice. I've got Scindapsus exotica up there, which doesn't get a lot of light, but just always looks nice. Doesn't grow particularly a lot, but it sort of provides a little bit of green into that section, which I like. My beautiful begonia nigrans, which I absolutely love. I just am obsessed with this plant, and the backs of the leaves are just like stunning as well. They're just like a bright purpley colour, reddy purpley colour. So I don't really want to do anything with this plant at the moment. I think I'm just going to let her do her thing. She's just beautiful. Coming down onto the windowsill, this calathea is actually doing really well. This was part of one of my rescue plants in my Grow Tropical rescue box that I got, I think about a year ago now. And she's putting out lots of new growth, and she's actually starting to fill out now, which is nice. This is just a caladium leaf that's in water because I chopped the wrong leaf off and I actually removed this beautiful leaf. So I'm just trying to let it live for a little bit longer because I can't believe I was that stupid. Anyway, these are just some neon cuttings that are doing fine. I repotted this Begonia Rex Inca Flame recently, so she is good. And that's been repotted recently as well. So that one is also good. This needs some work. This is my philodendron mycans, and it's just looking a bit tatty up here. And also all the leaves are facing towards the window, so I'm not getting to see those beautiful velvet leaves. So I might think about cutting this up a little bit and propagating it and putting it on to a moss pole, and maybe just changing this up for a green trailing plant here, maybe. So yeah, that's, I think, everything in the kitchen. In the loft, and it is so hot up here currently. I've got these two big south-facing windows in here, and it's currently 49% and 26.3 degrees. So yeah, it's warm up here. Right, so I've got this Monstera Ansonii. This is when I cut up the one that I didn't like, and I propagated the cuttings, and I cut this one back down to the stems, and it's growing that. So maybe I'll combine that one with the two others down in the kitchen, and I can like create a really nice full planter, which I think will look really nice. So that's something to be done. My alocasia dragon, silver dragon, is desperate for a repot. It's in semi-hydro like all of my alocasia, but it does have roots coming out the bottom. So yeah, I'm going to repot that one. Also, those flowers are on the out as well, so I'm going to cut them off. My anthurium, my brain's gone blank. Anthurium clarinervium is doing really well. I think it might need a repot. It is in the coarse semi-hydro mix from Soil Ninja. Oh, it's difficult with one hand. And there is quite a lot of roots going on in there. So I might think about that, but it's still putting out new growth. That's the latest leaf, hasn't fully hardened off yet. It's also got a inflow on the way. So yeah, and then my silver blush, that's the latest leaf there. It has got some leaves with damaged stuff on it. It did have thrips, and so maybe once that leaf comes out, I might cut off a couple of these damaged leaves here, just to get it looking a little bit nicer. But it's been repotted fairly recently. It's got some really nice roots going on. This one's in soil. Yeah, so nothing really to be done there other than a little bit of tidying up. And then up here, I've just added some more moss to that moss pole, my Florida green, and it's just starting to really nice like size up on that moss pole now. Let me just bring that one down. Oops, probably need to get it off this shelf because it's going to be banging its head on the ceiling soon. But yeah, that's the latest leaf there, which is just beautiful, and it's working on another one already. But yeah, all the moss poles dry out so quickly up here. Little African violet, it's doing absolutely fine. Flowering, looking beautiful. My caladiums need a little bit of attention, just some leaves that are just dying off there now. But otherwise they're doing well. This Alocasia cuprea actually It's in perlite at the moment, and I'm sort of rehabbing it a little bit because I just didn't really like how it was growing. I'm still not super keen on it, but it's still a bit of a work in progress, so that is an ongoing project. My Peperomia Hope has gone really bananas, and it's got lots of amazing new growth going on up there, so I probably just need to think about maybe propagating this one now. But otherwise it's doing really well. That player's looking beautiful. It's been repotted quite recently, so it's okay. It's got a little skinned abscess there on the end. I'm not really sure why it's here. It doesn't need to be here. I might change that out for another plant. Another caladium, that's Caladium Aran, doing well. I think it does need a bit of a soil top up though, because it's, yeah, I didn't ever put very much soil in, so it needs to be a little soil top up there. I think it will benefit from that. This is a bit of a success story because it was, this again was something I got in a Grow Tropicals rescue box about a year ago. And it looked quite beautiful when I got it, and then it just started looking so sad, and I could never get the watering right with it because these plants are so thirsty. So I ended up putting it in perlite at the bottom and then coarse semi-hydro mix from Soil Ninja on the top, and it is now so happy. Look, the reservoir's already dry. I have to basically fill this reservoir like every single day. But look at the growth it's giving me now. Such a beautiful plant when it's looking good. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. Also, my Alocasia Michelitziana has made a comeback. Hurrah! I messed with it too much and it started dropping all its leaves, and it was once very beautiful and then it just got so sad. But that's still in perlite actually, so probably think about moving that one into semi-hydro. And I've got another Alocasia Michelitziana in there, which is like a smaller one. I can probably combine those back together again. So that's the job to be done. Again, another little forest cactus there. So nothing much to be done there. This is, sorry about the dodgy camera work, but this is my Monstera a medium silver, which I recently cut up. I want to get it onto a moss pole, but I just needed to do some work on it first. So that part is there, and I've got another part in my little IKEA cabinet there. So I'm planning to basically get various different cuttings onto a moss pole. My Florida Ghost is beautiful, and I got it on a moss pole. Look at that latest leaf. I just love it. And it's working on another one there, but I'm guessing the moss pole is, yeah, it's dry. So I need to hydrate that. This beautiful little caladium is just stunning, and she is small. I'm not sure she's ever going to size up. The bulbs were quite small, and I understand there has been some, I don't know, I was watching somebody saying that caladium bulbs have just been very small the last few years, so obviously the growers are having some sort of issue or something, but it's still beautiful. I love the combination of this Florida green next to that. I think it looks so beautiful. Right, coming down here, aloe vera, totally fine, nothing much to do there. This little Alocasia is doing good, not much to do there. I got this Philodendron Silver Sword onto this moss pole. It's very much in its juvenile form still, and isn't taking that sort of silver sword shape. So I got it on this moss pole to try and do that, and then it got thrips. So I had to take quite a lot of the leaves off that were really damaged, and now she's bouncing back again. But again, very dry moss pole, needs to be hydrated. Monstera pinipotita down here, again, it got a pretty gnarly thrip infestation, and now it's bouncing back. And I need to find it a better position because it's sort of sitting down here. It still gets lots of light because this room is so bright, but when I had it up here, it was getting really bleached leaves. It was getting too much sun. So I just need to think about where to put it, basically. Little Alocasia Jackling is doing absolutely nothing. So I don't really know what to do with that. It's just not sized up at all, and the whole time I've had it. And that's sometimes what happens when you buy small plants. It can just yeah, it can take them a really long time to size up or not do anything. So yeah, I'm not really feeling that at the moment. It might be a plant that I end up getting rid of. We will see. Whoops, knocking things over. A whole collection of lots of different alocasias in here that I've propagated. We've got the Michelitziana, we've got some silver dragon, we've got Zabrina, we've got other bits and bobs. What else is here? Yeah, that's pretty much it. This begonia maculata is doing, again, absolutely nothing. It's growing in this really weird way and it's got lots of new growth, but the leaves are tiny. So again, I think I just need to cut this one up and maybe start again, because I just don't like this weird look that it's got. It's just not really doing anything for me. Back here I've got some other Zabrina, new growth coming there, and this is my Alocasia Yucatan Princess. That's the latest leaf there, which is beautiful. It's not my favourite alocasia, but it is still one that I enjoy. Lots of nice leaves there. This is my Alocasia Sarian, which is just looking so stunning. Oh, if I can get that Yucatan Princess out of the way a little bit. Yeah, she's really starting to size up now. This is growing completely from corms, and I actually just sized it up just a few days ago, and there's lots of new growth on the way. So yeah, this one's in Lechuza Pond, and I'm very happy with her. She's doing really well. And then I've got an Alocasia cucullata in there, which is doing fine. We can't really see, she's getting a bit squashed in there, so I probably just need to find a better place for her. As you can see, I'm sort of struggling with space for all these plants. I'm not going to go too much into detail in here. We've got propagations, we've got corms, we've got various different things going on, so that all just needs to be sorted as and when. Again, with this shelf, I've got lots of string of propagations going on. Watermelon peperomia. Now this is a bit of a heartbreaking one, and I'm really angry with myself. So these are my Alocasia Frydek variegata corms, and it's been living in this little glass dome for ages. But yesterday I took it out of here to do something with it, and then I left it out on the table in full sun, and it completely dried out. She is bouncing back, but I think I will lose quite a lot of these leaves because they just completely dried out, and I'm so upset with myself. But it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just a bit mortified, but we will recover. So yeah, there's lots of things to be done up here, but it's more just like sorting and potting up propagations and that sort of thing. I've also got some plants from downstairs that I might want to move up here to maximise the light over the autumn months, because this is still the warmest and brightest room in the house. And the only other plant that is here is over in this corner. This is what is left of my ZZ plant. I did a reel on this because it rotted, and I ended up moving it into water and it continued to rot, and then I moved it into perlite, and now I've moved it into semi-hydro, and it's got lots, as you can see, lots of lovely roots going on in there. So hopefully she will continue to make a bit of a comeback. Loft bathroom, not too much to say in here. It's also really echoey, and there's a extractor fan. But I'm thinking about combining this Boston fern with another Boston fern that I have in my downstairs bathroom, just because I just think it will look good, I think. This one might also need a repot as well, and it's just looking a bit like it just needs to be cut back a little bit. Lots of brown and crispy bits that need to be treated, but otherwise it's fine. This is a fresh pot of pothos cuttings, so it's absolutely fine there. My Orbifolia is doing okay. She did give me a couple of really beautiful big leaves, and then has been giving me quite a few smaller ones. She has been repotted quite recently, and I'm also trying distilled water on her, to try and help with the browning on the edges. She also had thrips. So yeah, it's always just a bit of a work in progress. My bird's nest fern hasn't done anything for months and months and months. And finally, we are getting some new growth going on in there. So I'm hoping that something's going to happen, because I love this plant, but she's just not really been doing anything. So yeah, but nothing needs to be done in terms of repotting and that sort of thing. This is just one of many pots of pothos cuttings that I need to maybe do something with. Little Maranta that just needs a pot. I've got lots of things that need decorative pots. I need to do a trip to IKEA. And that is a little philodendron mycans that probably need a little bit more light than it's getting here in this bathroom. I fell out of love with this philodendron Birkin because it's given me sort of all white leaves, but it has been giving me a little bit more green lately. But yeah, it's just, maybe it just needs to fill out a little bit more, but I'm not sure if I'm loving it, or maybe I might get rid of that one. String of arrows. So I've got a lot of string of arrows, so they're all doing well. And this is my peperomia raindrop, which is doing well as well. So yeah. Into the bedroom, and the main thing that needs to be dealt with is this neon pothos, which is on a moss pole here. And as you can see, it's sizing up really nicely, but it is starting to reach the top of the pole. And also this pole is like really unstable because it's a plastic wire mesh pole, and so it actually can't really stand up on its own. That's why it's lent against that wardrobe. So I think what I'm going to do is chop it and then get it onto one of the plastic back poles, just because these dry out so quickly and I'm very bad at keeping them hydrated, and then it can continue to grow on from there. That's the plan. This one got repotted recently, so it's absolutely fine. It's got a few yellowing leaves that need to be dealt with, which is no big deal. And my Mandula pothos climbing is starting to size up as well. Again, I think just it might benefit from one being a little bit more secured in, because I need those roots to grow into that moss, and maybe to up the light a little bit, because it sits quite a bit of a way back from a south-facing window in my bedroom, and I think it would just benefit from a little bit more light than what it's getting. So I think maybe just repositioning this one, I might take this one down to my living room. A bit like with everywhere else, I just want to give this shelf that lives, this shelf that's above my bed, a bit of a refresh. I do like having trailing plants here, but they're getting too long at the side and probably going to cause an accident with a plant ending up on somebody's head at some point. So yeah, I think I might just change up some of the plants that are here, and yeah, but otherwise I think also that Mandula needs to be repotted. I might check on that one as well. Other than that, I think everything is fine for repotting. My big Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, this is the one that is sort of my biggest one that's climbing the walls here up in the bedroom, and yeah, it's just looking a bit messy, and it's in like at the back of the room here, and I think maybe could it be in a better place? I'm not sure. Need to think about that one, but I did have to chop it at the top here because it was just getting too tall, and you can see it's already putting out new growth there. They are just the most resilient, fastest growing plant that you'll ever come across in your life. Scindapsus up there needs a repot because it's drying out really fast, even though it's in quite a low light spot, like even behind this chimney breast, it's still drying out very quickly. So it probably needs to be repotted. And the only other one is this Calathea, which is also thirsty, which is actually putting out such beautiful new growth for me. having done absolutely nothing. But look, it's hitting the top of this shelf, so it needs a new position so that it continue to thrive. And then this is my Epipremnum Enjoy, which is one of the slower growing of the Epipremnum or pothos, but is actually now starting to trail really nicely. So I might get my propagation on with this one. I've not wanted to cut it before because it's just been so slow to grow, but now it's actually starting to really put out some beautiful growth. So yeah, orchid is clearly dying off now, so I'm going to cut that stem all the way back to the base, and then when the plant is ready it will reward me with another flower spike. But yeah, that one's come to the end of the road, so I need to just chop that off. And then my Philodendron gloriosum, this is doing okay. It's had thrips, and so you can see the damage there. So when this leaf comes in that it's working on here, I may well chop off that leaf just because it's so damaged and it doesn't look very nice. But that is the latest leaf, and you can see it's beautiful. It's got no damage on it. I've got it in this self-watering terracotta planter, which is from IKEA, but I've got it in pon, and it's a bit of an interesting system. It sort of works, but as you can see also, because the sun is coming, the light is coming from the side here, it's all sort of growing out this way, and it's just not looking its best. So I think, again, maybe changing the position so the light is coming from behind, and then that will help it sort of perk up a little bit more. And yeah. Oh, and this terrarium needs a bit of attention. It's growing out the top there, so I just need to chop it back. I'm going to try and clean the glass, chop it back. It grows so fast it will just, you know, grow in no time, and take out some of the yellow leaves there. So I just need to get myself a bit of a terrarium kit just so that I can clean it up a bit, because just look at it, it's pushed off the roof, the lid there. But yeah, into the first floor bathroom, and yeah, this has basically become a space for plants that are sort of rehabbing, some of which are ready to go back into society, shall we say. So this Monstera here had thrips, but is now looking okay and putting out lovely new growth, and it's definitely not getting enough light here in this bathroom. I do have quite a few Monstera at the moment, and I don't have space for them all, so I either need to think about selling some or combining them together. I've got another one over here, which again could be combined or sold. So yeah, I need to think about what I want to do with those, because that one also had thrips but is now recovered. This Monstera Peru has been up here ever since I did my thrips video, just because I wanted to make sure it definitely was like fine before I put it back on the shelf, which is one of the reasons why that shelf downstairs is looking so empty. But it is now thrip free, lots of nice new growth there, despite being in quite a low light spot. But it does have this sort of one long ugly vine, which I don't like the look of. So I'm going to chop that off, propagate it, and then stick it back into the pot at the top to fill it out a little bit more. So that's my plan with that one. But otherwise it's now thrip free. This is my other Boston fern, which I'm thinking about combining with the other one, which it's nice and full, but it just also might be taking up too much space in this window, I think. But also I need to look at the repotting it, because look at all those new growth that are trying to reach the top, and they're just a bit stuck. So yes, that needs to be dealt with there. This Philodendron scandens needs a repot for sure, and it's just not really looking very nice there. This is my other asparagus fern, which is doing really well, but already, like, I only repotted it maybe a month ago or something like that. Oh, it's getting a bit stuck in the pot, hang on, try and get it out. And already look at all those roots. So yeah, I don't know if it needs a repot, or maybe I'll combine it with that other one downstairs and just get one fuller plant going on. As I said, I am really trying to like streamline my collection where possible. This is another one that had thrips and was down the living room. It's Aglaonema Maria Christina and is now thrip free, so it can now leave the bathroom. I just haven't got around to doing it. So yeah, just more like, there's nothing in here that really, I mean, that needs to be repotted and that one, and I might combine that one, but otherwise it's more a case of just trying to take these plants out of here, because it really is like, it's got this one small north facing frosted window, so it's really not enough for these plants in here. Okay, so that's it. We've done a full walkthrough of all the plants. It was a bit chaotic, so I'm sorry if you were sort of following my random thoughts as I was sort of going through and just thinking what was in my mind as I was looking through my plant collection. But yeah, I've got lots and bits and bobs to do. Mostly that I want to just change the collection around a little bit, put things in different places to make it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, and also to maximise the light, thinking about going into the autumn months. I might need to purchase some more grow lights, I might need to move some grow lights around, and I've got a bit of repotting to do, combining of plants, because as I mentioned, I'm really looking to try and streamline my collection a bit, just to make my life a little bit easier when it comes to watering and things like that. And I'd rather have bigger, more healthy looking plants than lots of little plants everywhere. So yeah, that's my plan. I've got a long list of things to do, and I'm going to start making my way through that list over the coming weeks. And then I will do an updated video. Maybe I'll probably do like a houseplant tour, maybe at the end of September or something like that, because my last one was in March, and you can see where things are and whether I've purchased any new plants along the way. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please drop them below. And if you think this is a good task, let me know down in the comments as well, whether you think you might be doing something like this. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.